Okay, everybody, we have a special edition Stacking Pennies because it's not every day you get to talk to a fellow like this. Doesn't live in town. We talked to a lot of NASCAR winners. We talked to some motorsports people. We're broadening our horizons, if you will.
Stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
It tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory.
We're just out here stacking pennies.
Back to back, defending and reigning. 30-year-old from Pittsburgh, Indiana in town. So we had to get him over here to the Nonsense Garage. Please help me welcome Austin Prock.
Cool. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Man, you've had quite the exciting offseason, my friend.
Yeah, it's been a busy one to say the least.
I'll be honest, man. Obviously, I would say that I'm a fringe NHRA fan. I have a lot of friends. Clay Milliken's a good friend. So I keep up with it from afar, right? And appreciate standing next to a dragster rifle off from the Christmas tree and blow your hair back. But I'll be honest, when I did a quick Google search, do my research on you, I did not realize you had all the stuff going on. I mean, you just assume, hey, back to back, 2-time NHRA Funny Car champ. You're just going to keep running it back. You got a whole family team. Nope. You packed it up. And move over to Bob Tasca Racing. So is the whole change, is it weird? Is it uncomfortable? Are you excited? Is it all of those things?
It's all those things. I worked at, my previous employer from the time I was in high school till, just a few months ago. So that
Who was
shop,
for the listeners?
yeah, John Force Racing.
Okay.
So that shop was kind of like home to me, and being in another race shop was kind of like being in another woman's bed. It just felt weird.
Doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and it's been fun. I have my family with me still. We moved as a bunch, and got my whole team with me, all the crew members, a few other employees from the race shop. So all familiar faces in there. Just a huge undertaking making over this race team. There's been a lot of change going on. The only thing that's the same in that building right now is the Expedition that tows the race car and the Ford Mustang Dark Horse body that's on it. Everything else has changed, and we've been working 15 to 18-hour days, 7 days a week for the last few months. And as a race car driver, you wouldn't think I'd be in there, getting dirty with the boys, but I'm the one closing the doors at the end of the night. So
I know you're not wearing that ring when you're working on those top fuel cars, are you?
no, some days I do. This thing's kind of hammered. I busted a couple diamonds out of it on the floor in the shop, but
Just working, man.
yeah, got to get your paws dirty and earn your keep.
What's the point in winning it if you're not going to wear it?
Exactly. Yeah, I got next week I get my second one on the same hand, and you can bet your ass I'll have two of them on.
Be dragging it around.
Yeah, dude, that
Man.
thing is blinding me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They won't be 12-ounce curls anymore. They'll be 15-ounce.
Let's go. So,
boy.
your dad was at Forces for 27 years?
Yeah.
So that's all you've known your whole life, right?
Yeah, for sure. I never knew anything outside of that building, and that's been a huge, learning curve. At John Force Racing, everything's done in-house, and you kind of live in your own world. You build your own parts, you build your own chassis. You don't deal with any outside manufacturers. And going over to Tasca Racing, you deal with all outside manufacturers, and trying to get things how they need to be the right way. And it's just been, let alone the work, but just making the relationships, making the connections with the people that you need to deal with day in and day out has been a eye opener for sure.
So zoom out a little bit and give our majority NASCAR fans audience a little bit of context, right? Let's back up. So you had started drag racing straight line relatively late. I don't know, early 20s. Right?
Oval track guy, let's go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you
Quarter midget kids,
you
same.
started some sprint cars, right? From Indiana. You pointed out Pittsburgh, Indiana is the quote unquote birthplace of Jeff Gordon. We don't really know for sure where he's exactly born. We'll talk to Jeff here in a couple of weeks after Darlington. But so you had some oval track experience. Naturally, you gravitated to where your dad was, and there was an opportunity, and now you're hauling ass. But is there any sort of oval racing interest? Do you keep up with NASCAR at all? Do you watch sprint cars?
Yeah, I keep up with all of it. This year, like I said, I've been so busy in the shop, I didn't even realize that NASCAR season was starting until the Sunday of the Daytona 500. So I'm definitely a NASCAR fan, definitely a fan of all motorsports. You know, you got horsepower and four tires, I'm in. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I respect all forms of motorsports, and you know, I'm game to get behind the wheel of any of them too.
I
You
love Indianapolis because, like, we were talking about I was like, "Well, where's your shop?" And you're like, "Oh, it's right next door to Forces." But, like, I loved going and seeing Tommy from Cold Hard Art. Like, when I went and saw him and had lunch, there was IndyCar guys at
Mhm.
lunch, there was the Indy race parts sprint car team at lunch, like, it's such a melting pot for all sorts of different racers. So, like, is there IndyCar teams around you and sprint car teams around you as well?
Yeah, for sure. Tony Stewart Racing is right down the street from us, and
Drag team now.
yep, drag team and sprint car team. Rico Abreu's taking over the reins on
Hey,
that with
love that.
Ricky Warner. Those are two good friends of mine, so I'm excited for them this season. But yeah, that's one nice thing about living in Indianapolis area is it's all racers. You know, there ain't much going on there other than a few good steakhouses and the racing scene. And you know, being around our breed, essentially, you know, racers, we're all a little different, but when you're surrounded by them, it's really nice.
Speaking of a little bit different, I feel like people that inhale nitromethane for a living are a little bit different because you gotta be damn near crazy
Well,
to go
and
that fast.
speaking of Clay, like Clay last week, he was in Corey's bus at Daytona, and I was like, "How you reverse age?" And then like you, I was like, Corey asked you if you wanted a beer. I was like, "We're gonna have to check his ID,"
Yeah,
and you're like, "No, I'm 30."
yeah.
So what is it about nitro that makes you guys look so much younger?
It's the fountain of youth.
Yeah, I honestly believe it does.
Well, yeah,
no, I
it's a
swear. Like,
stimulant.
I mean, there's some grassroots drag racers, you know, pioneers. They'll live till 90, 95 years old, and all they did was huff nitro their whole life.
Dude,
There's got to be something to
Don
it.
Perdome looks like he's, 65 years old. He's like
Yeah, he's
110.
almost 90.
Yo,
Yeah,
you ever met
yeah,
Don Perdome?
Yeah.
So I
yep,
was at Daytona. It was like dark. I forget, but Eddie Wood, the Wood brothers, he's like, "Hey, you're a racer. Come here. I want you to meet somebody." And he walked me over. He's like, "This is a snake," and I was like, shit. Like
yeah,
I wasn't ready, but I was like, "Hey, man!" But
So,
yeah,
he's like, he has like an aura around
yeah,
him.
yeah.
he's like the Richard Petty of drag racing.
For sure. Yeah. Short story to go along with that. Don Perdome actually got me my first sponsorship to get on the NHRA tour in 2019. So, yeah, he's a good family friend of mine.
Let's
Oh,
go.
shout out Snake.
Guys like him. I grew up close to Englishtown, New Jersey. So my dad, we would go to Englishtown all the time. So I was like a huge Bernstein. I was a big Joe Amato fan. Like
Yep. My dad tuned
my
for him.
kid has a Joe Amato diecast in his room because
Hmm.
he's like a Pennsylvania guy.
Yeah.
And,
Scranton.
yeah, and I love Maple Grove. I never been to Maple Grove, but I was like, because we went to Englishtown, but yeah, just like guys had so much swag, like Bernstein. Like, and like, you had to back then because it was so it's still sketchy.
Yeah.
And
Back
you
then it was really sketchy.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like I'm looking at this 11,000 horsepower blows my mind every time I see it.
Yeah.
Because like we think 900's good, you know, a World Atlas sprint car's got 900. Like, that
Yeah.
thing's got a lot of power. Where the hell are they getting 11,000
Yeah.
from?
Yeah. If you ask my dad, it actually makes 13,000 by the torque sensor.
Well,
That's
I
a
mean,
good crew chief,
that's how
baby.
you win back-to-back championships by having 13. Everybody else has 11.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We make more horsepower than essentially any other race car in one cylinder.
That's so crazy.
So you've driven both top fuel dragsters and funny cars.
Hmm.
Get into the weeds a little bit about how they drive differently because like it would be this looks the same to me.
Yeah, the funny car is tenfold harder to drive.
Okay.
You have the same amount of horsepower, the same power plant, and 125 inches of wheelbase rather than 300.
Mm.
You know, so I always for circle track racers or grassroots racers, I compare it to a non-wing sprint car. The nitro funny car is the non-wing sprint car. The the dragster's like driving a Cadillac down the freeway. You know, it just kind of floats through there. Is it tough to drive? Yeah, but nowhere near as tough as the nitro funny car. You got the bomb in front of you. You know, the engine's sitting right on top of your feet. The bell housing's in between your feet. The drive shaft's between your legs. You know, the drive shaft, when I sit in that thing, the drive shaft's a half inch away from my ass. You know, and then you're sitting on top of the rear tires
And then your
too.
brass balls sit on
Yeah.
between both sides of it.
Which the funny car is one of the only cars I believe or motorsports where you actually sit on top of the rear axle. So like getting that feel, like when it steps
Mm.
out, it feels so much different compared to any other race car where you're just in front of the rear axle or in the middle of the race car. It definitely gives you a different
So
aspect
what's
of
the
feel.
first one feel like, right? Because you had this idea of what you expect going from alcohol cars to then top fuel dragsters to then F1s. Like how hard can it be? Holy moly!
Yeah, I didn't have much drag racing experience before I got in the dragster. I only made probably 8 runs in an alcohol dragster before I got in the top fuel car. And John Force, he threw me on a crash course. Like I literally licensed in super comp dragster, super gas, and then got into the A fuel alcohol dragster. Um, Made, I think, 3 runs in an alcohol funny car, but I only made just enough runs to get my license in each of those. And the first time I ever competed was my first professional debut in Pomona, California, first race of the year. I licensed in the dragster 3 days, I think 2 days before the national event. Made just enough runs to get my license, and they sent me there. And Q1 was my first ever full pull. Never even went to the finish
Where'd
The
line.
you
boys are
qualify?
ready.
Where'd you
Yep.
qualify?
I think we qualified in the top half. I think we might have been
Let's go.
8th, and I won first round in a pedal fest. I'd never had to pedal a race car before. I stood on the gas first round racing my teammate at the time, and both of our cars shook. And just instinct, I got out of the gas, slapped it again. When you have slow tire shake like that, you have to be able to decipher what the tire's doing to understand how to apply the throttle back.
Mm.
So one sensation is like the tire will like waffle the sidewall, and if it does it as soon as you stand on the gas, that means it's slow. So you can just get off and slap it. The quicker you slap it, the better you're going to run. If it goes out there and goes 60 feet or 100 feet and then does that, it's fast. So then you have to get off, let the tire recover, roll into the throttle. So it was a slow shake. I slapped it, turned on the wind light, no parachutes, shortest shutdown on tour, got it stopped, didn't crash it, and went on to second round.
Did you
Real
forget
man.
the parachutes, or they just didn't come out?
No, I went for them. I set them all up, and they did not deploy.
Oh boy.
Is that a
Oh.
common thing that drivers do their own parachutes? Kind of like, hey, if I'm going to jump out of this airplane, I want to be the one that messes this up.
Yeah, it's kind of gone the other way a little bit. Just like any other motorsport, the driver used to always be hands-on the race car,
Yeah.
and some drivers are getting away from that. I'm still heavily involved in every aspect of the race car. I'm surprised my hands aren't black right now.
Cap still
Right.
does it. I saw Caps
Yeah,
doing it.
Caps packs his parachute. I mean, I do it because it's kind of my crew has better areas elsewhere to
Yeah.
put their time and effort. So I just do it to help out. If I can't get to it, if I have media appearances, I have no problem, trusting my guys to pack my parachutes. I trust them to assemble the engine in 30
Yeah.
minutes and send me on a 340-mile-an-hour run.
So you go from the dragster and
Yep.
you get into the funny car the first time. What what was did it feel like going from a non-wing to a wing from non-wing sprint car? Like, were you like, holy shit, that was harder than I thought it was gonna
Yeah,
be?
absolutely. I mean, the
It seems
front.
like your field of vision is tighter too.
Yes, you can't see out of it. The front end's off the ground half the run. They steer like shit.
They don't have more downforce?
They do, but the front it's so short that one tire, if any tires are on the ground, it's just one. The thing's
Whoa.
torqued up, left front's off the ground. And aiming the race car is really important just because it is shorter wheelbase. When you do give it wheel input, it's more prone to making the rear axle free and
Wedge it up.
slipping. So aiming the race car is much more important because when you stand on the gas, if it carries the front end, if you're trucking, you want to land where you need to be
Mm.
on the racetrack. If I'm in there hacksawing the wheel
Yeah.
from the start to the 330 where they're starting to apply the clutch, the crew chief's going to be really mad at me because it's going to smoke the tires a lot.
That thing ever land when you have wheel in it?
Oh, yeah.
Take
Yeah.
off one
Yep.
way or the other?
Yeah, I mean, I've had runs where it'll stick the tire, and it'll leave all goofy and it'll pull the front end up. And when it pulls the front end up, it'll sit on the left rear and drive you towards the fence.
Oh.
And then you're just in there. You can't lift. I mean, you can, but, then
That's what
you're,
losers
Yeah.
do.
so you just hang on and you give it wheel, but you start feeding it and then you go, well, this is all happening in a few thousandths, tenths of a
Yeah.
second. You're feeding it wheel and you're like, well, I can't do that because when it lands, it's going to yank and then make it smoke the tires. So, like, I'll start to give it wheel and then before it lands, I'll bring it back and then try and feed it. Like,
Just asking Jesus
Yeah.
to take the
Yeah,
wheel.
they're a handful,
Naturally, dude,
but-
when you get sideways, you're giving it wheel.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a
for
natural
sure.
instinct.
So,
It's crazy.
yeah, they're definitely always entertaining. As soon as you think you got it under control, it throws you for some loop.
What do you think makes what's the difference between the great ones and the good ones?
I think being able to handle all conditions of what it's capable of doing. When you make a night, if you're on a gripped up racetrack and you go A to B, all cylinders lit, you hold the wheel fairly straight. It's when you get into the situations where the crew chief's got you, there's a little bit of grip on the starting line. If you're lined up way outside of the groove and you got to launch, the track's greasy out there, bring it back to the middle of the racetrack without making it being smooth, being finessed, just like any other motorsport. When it smokes the tires or it shakes, like making the right instinct decision to get the tire to recover. Because even if my car smokes the tires, I'm hoping the guy next door does too. And I always want to, if we smoke the tires, I always want to be the guy that wins because I did the better job recovering the race car. So all that's really important to me. Being able to, when you drop a cylinder, when it's running on 8, the thrust per propulsion is even on each side. When you drop a cylinder, it actually thrust steers. So if you lose a cylinder on the left, the right thrust is going to drive the car
Is
around
that
to the
thrust
left
literally from the exhaust
from
pushing?
the exhaust. I'll tell you a story about that here in a second. So when it drops a hole, it feels like you're trucking through there. It'll drop a hole. It feels like you got T-bone. That's how quick it turns.
Oh,
Whoa.
So as soon as you feel that, the more square you can keep the thrust, the easier it is to get back. You might be hand over fist to keep
Yeah.
it straight, but if you let it get away from the the vector of the thrust out of going straight, you can't get it back, and you just feed wheel until you have to lift, whether you're going to cross the center line or hit the wall.
oh,
So
What's your story?
so my dad figured out how important thrust was a few years back. I think it was 2017, and he decided to he decided to lay the exhaust back to help.
Instead of push down, push
Yeah,
back.
instead of downforce, help it propel the race car. So he dreams up these pipes, dude. I mean, they built them hack. They built them with broomsticks. They had
yeah.
broomsticks in the headers to try and figure out what angle they thought it needed to be. Well, they put these things on, and one started carrying the front end more, made the race cars way more difficult to drive because the front end's lighter.
But faster.
And two, exactly.
Yeah.
And two, the sun was up one day. The track was like 120 or 115 degrees, which is fairly warm for us. Track temperatures equates to grip. And he ran the national record with the sun up. And he walked off the starting line just with his tail between his legs, like, what did I just create? And
Yeah.
then all the engine,
Now every car's got them.
every car's got him laid back. NHRA had to build a rule around it saying you can't lay him back more than this. And it was a whole deal, but it picked the category up mile an hour and ET like crazy. And all he did was tip him back.
Remember when Silva did that with Larson's sprint car? Did you ever see that where they flipped the collectors up?
Uh huh.
He was like, he wasn't doing good, and they flipped him up, and everybody was talking about he started winning again. But
Yeah.
they'll bust your chops for having your collectors up, like in the modified series, because they say it's downforce. So like
Oh, really?
everybody, and F1 uses their exhaust to go over their wings, like that. That's been a thing, even in NASCAR for a little bit. With the next gen car, because everybody's cars are the same. The margins are so slim. So everybody was trying to get their pipes out a little further for a little more downforce, and how,
Yeah.
everybody's got CFD now and it wraps around the car. So, talking about that, you switch manufacturers, and I always wonder, like, I understand what manufacturer support and OEM support means for the NASCAR side because I've been around it forever, but like, how important is that on the NHRA side with data and tires and everything that they do?
It's just as important. That obviously your aero package is important, and being able to have access to engineers and the resources that these big corporate manufacturers have. This is something new to us that we have, and I think that my team can really take advantage of it. My brother is a mechanical engineer. He actually used to work down here. He was a race engineer for Stewart Haas, and
Oh, what
um,
year?
2019 to
Oh,
2022, I think.
okay. I was there
Worked
2011 to
Okay.
13,
Yeah,
so
he
yeah,
was on
cross paths.
Boyer's car, and then he was on Briscoe's car.
Was there anything that he
Okay.
took from NASCAR? Just what he learned, tire data and stuff
Yeah,
like that back?
he learned so much down there. The budget is so much more. You have so much more room to expense on R&D. He learned so many things. Like he's a big reason of the success that we've had in NHRA drag racing. You know that the year I think Harvick won the Brickyard 400. My brother Thomas designed the rear clip for it, so that was kind of a cool
You're bringing up bad.
addition to
This
his
is
resume. And
pissing me off because
yeah,
we were leading,
yeah,
and Rodney Short put us lapped, and the caution came out. I was with Blaney, and
okay,
we run second, and it still chaps my ass.
yeah,
So I appreciate you bringing it up.
yeah.
It,
uh,
I got a random question. If you were at the bar prior to having a couple beers and you just grabbed John Smith sitting there and you literally put a helmet on him and plugged him to the top to a car, what would happen?
He'd crash.
How so?
Uh,
Say it's like, okay, when it goes green, pal, you just mash it and see what happens.
Yeah, you're accelerating so fast. ESPN back in the day did this like diagnostics on NHRA drag racing, and if you were lined up 1 degree off and you stood on the gas, how many feet you would travel off to the left
Mhm.
by the finish line, and it was like hundreds of feet. So one, just being able to steer it and understand where you're going, and two, being able to withstand just getting your head rocked.
Which
You
how many
know,
G's is that off the bounce?
it's 4 to 5 off the starting line.
And then
Then
more.
we'll jiggle the engine. We take a little timing out of it to get the tire to regain traction. And then when we jam the timing back in it and apply the clutch, we'll get 6 through the middle of the racetrack. So
so
like
it keeps pulling.
it launches hard. This is a funny car. Dragster, you can apply the clutch a lot more aggressively because of the wheelbase. But it leaves, it'll have the front end in there. It'll land. You'll feel the tire kind of catch back up, and then they send it. And it'll pull the front end off the ground in the middle of the racetrack if you apply the clutch really aggressively. Um, but yeah, just being able to understand how quick you need to react to that thing when it leaves and it goes left, you know, being on top of it and understanding what direction you're going to bring it back into the middle of the groove.
I think the majority of like, I would say 98% of people wouldn't even want to touch on the gas.
Yeah.
Like they
It,
wouldn't even want to get in that damn
so
thing.
like a lot of first time drag racers, even though it's just like super comp, like a super comp dragster, it runs like 9 seconds in the quarter mile at 150 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Fast car, but not like what we do.
Yeah.
But when they hit the throttle, let off the trans brake, hit the throttle, 90% of them
Lift.
when it hits them in the back of the seat, their foot comes off the gas.
Yeah.
And that thing's running, 9-10 seconds. This thing, my Nitro Funny Car, when I stand on the gas, in 0.2 of a second, it goes from 2,600 RPM to 8,600 RPM.
Oh,
And in less than 0.8 of a second, I'm doing 100 miles an hour.
How much? 8 tenths?
0.8 of a
8
second. It
So,
takes about 60 feet, about the length of a semi truck from a dead stop, doing 100.
oh, dude.
Do you wear like a Whoop strap or a Fitbit? Is that a Fitbit on your? What are you wearing?
No,
right
this is
there?
just a wristband.
Have you ever worn like a Whoop to see what your heart rate is during a run?
No, I've always wanted to. NHRA's talked about like getting one that they can, use as a community one to
On the
put on
broadcast, yeah.
television. I would love
Is
to
it-
see what it looks like. You got to be pinned.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when I get out of the race car at the top end, I always say I feel like I could knock out Mike Tyson. Like, there is no better feeling in the world than getting out of that race car after going 340 miles an hour and then feeling the chutes hit.
So I've been a picker guy forever, and we work 12 seconds at a time, 10 seconds at a time, whatever it is. And they did that to us when they first started doing it. And our heart rate would stay fine until after the stop and everything was over, then it would shoot.
Mhm.
So I wonder if you guys are the same way where you're like in flow state, and then when it's done, it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was crazy.
I would believe that because like when I kind of correlate us to like sharpshooters, like you have to be calm breathing, very focused, meticulous, like when you're lining up and like waiting for the tree to drop. And then, when you stand on the gas, obviously you get 4 Gs thrown at you. I'm sure your heart rate goes through the moon.
Dude, that's got to be just an unbelievable experience. How do you try to get like? Are you like cranking up music, pounding an energy drink? Like,
Yeah.
what sort of like physical space do you need to be in prior to like your 341 I'm on a road.
Yeah, I like to vibe. Like I'm always blaring music in the staging lanes, either whether it's in my
What's your
expedition
choice?
or
Yeah, what's your music choice?
on race day. I love hip hop. Like
What's your
He's
go-to
he's
guy?
like Mark Martin. He's got
Yeah,
Gucci
Gucci
Mane
Mane, what
on.
do you
yeah, I love Gucci Man. I love that about Mark Martin.
like Big X the Plug?
I've been big on Primo Rice lately,
Oh, I gotta
and
look that one up.
uh, what's the other dude? I'll
What's
think of it.
your dad vibe out for some,
No, not
Gucci
at
Mane
Man,
all.
too?
turn
Yeah,
that
yeah,
crap
yeah.
off.
He
What are we
doesn't. He
doing?
doesn't screw with me though on race day. I play whatever
Oh,
I
you
Yeah,
want.
keep
you
winning
do.
championships. They'll let you listen whenever you want to.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
One thing I think that is super cool that Ford does is they get everybody together
Hmm.
at the beginning of the year. Were you able to be part of
Yep.
that this year? So
Yeah,
like
that was my first day of school.
the
Yeah.
networking that gets done there with like even when I think about guys like Vaughn or Ben Hobson who drives their drift cars, Daniel Ricciardo, like you get to meet everybody that's involved. How cool has that been to be a part of?
It's been awesome. I just left another deal like that today. We had a immersion day, they called it, learning the ins and out of Ford racing and, what their vision is and how they want us to promote their brand. So it definitely is cool that they get everybody in all different categories together. You meet a lot of people and, everybody's been really nice so far. So, yeah, it's definitely been cool. I've never got to experience that in my previous career. So I definitely love the way they handle business.
Did you see Blaney's mustache up close?
Yeah, I sat
Did it?
next to him today.
He
That thing, it was like tickling me from a foot
It
away.
it does.
anything crawl
It's
out of
got its
it?
own, it's like a
Crawl
cousin.
out of it? Talk to you?
That dude, that thing looks like cousin It sitting on his upper lip, bro.
They're just
What
hilarious.
you're young, man. You're 30 years old, two-time NHRA champ. What is like how much more do you chase? How much more do you go after? And then do you even think about what you want to drive next or what you want to do?
Yeah, I'm cutthroat. I just want to keep winning. That's the only expectation I have out of myself, out of my team. I want to go three in a row. That's the goal right now. And the more you win, the better position, you're going to set yourself up for the future. So, and the longevity of your career too. So, yeah, I want to race it out all the way until the day I'm done. And when I'm done, I might just disappear like Martin Truex.
I,
Well, bro,
I
you keep,
dude.
breathing nitromethane, you can run to your 100.
Yeah.
Well, I watched. I was on my dad's shoulders, sitting on my dad's shoulders, and watched John Force quick time on a Friday. Like Friday nights are my favorite time to
Hmm.
go.
Oh yeah.
Watched some quick time at Englishtown, and then my kid was on my shoulders and watched John Force quick time, whatever it was, 3 years ago. So like the runway's long, and you have two at 30. Like what's the record? Is he at 15?
16.
16?
Yep.
So is that a goal of yours, or is your goal of
Yeah.
yours to spread your wings and maybe do because you're a quarter midget kid, race midgets and sprint cars, and I wonder if it's the Indianapolis thing because like Selzy, Tony, a lot of those guys run that. But like, is that something with the Ford connection? They'd be like, hey, I'd like to
Yeah,
jump in an oval track
absolutely.
car.
I would love to, like I said earlier, anything with an engine and four wheels, I am game to drive. I believe in myself that I could do a good job too. I'm a racer at heart, and if you got that passion inside you, I believe you can do anything you want. So I'm always open to trying new things. I'm young. As you said, 30, but in the racing industry, I'm kind of old now. So
Not no, dude, not in funny cars.
yeah,
Yeah,
not in
You're
funny
like
cars, but
you're like
maybe
a pup.
NASCAR come
yeah,
out.
but
Yeah.
going other routes, not to say that's never going to happen, but the idea of it's probably getting smaller. But yeah, I'm always open to anything. I don't know where my career is going to take me. I'm happy where I'm at, but
Well,
I'm
if
always
Mark
open for new
if
adventures.
Mark Rushbrook head over Ford Racing came to you right now and was like, pick a car to run. We got, Broncos in Dakar. We got obviously the Cup cars. We've got F1
Drift
car. We got
cars,
drift
and yeah,
cars. We'd be like, oh, give me the keys for that one.
crashing
That's a
trucks.
hard decision. I off the top of my head, I really think that those V8 supercars are pretty
Let's go.
interesting. They they seem like they haul ass. They seem like they're a handful. They're tough to drive. You can beat and bang. It seems like and everything. You can still be pretty quick that way. A stock car has always been on my list of things to drive. I never got the opportunity to do it. I had opportunities right before I went drag racing, and after that everything was kind of sewed up. But or a wing sprint car, World of Outlaw wing sprint car racing, or high limit sprint car racing.
For our listeners, do you feel like sprint cars would be better if they put starters on them and you didn't have to push them off with a Jeep every time you ran them.
No, it would ruin the sport.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
get out of here. It's been
It
fun. It's
would
been
ruin
real.
the
It has been-
sport.
Oh, man.
So where's that sign at?
That would be like
I gotta
making
bring-
it's
NASCAR
right-
turn right instead of left.
No, it would not. It would actually be like, hey, you know what? It's 2026. Let's start these things off now.
Well, just so you know,
1987 Jimmy.
Larson was in here, and we had this. Somebody gave us
Right
a
here,
sign.
behind
It's
that
right
light,
up
you
there.
can't see
It says "Put starters on sprint cars." And a friend of mine
was holding a
in
sign like
Atlantic
this, "Put
City this
starters
year
up." I
brought me
said,
stickers. I got to
"Nah,
bring them
man."
in here. But Larson was like, I always felt the same way till I drove that dirt late model. And I just started it and drove out on the track, and I was like, this is pretty nice.
Yeah. Have you
So-
ever drove one before?
No, bro.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the first time I got in the Rumble midget, I didn't have to start it. So they were giving me all this stuff, and I'm like, hey, you know Lou Ciccone?
I know the
So
name.
Lou
Yeah.
is just a legend in the world of super modifieds, midgets,
Yeah.
all that. So he's like my mentor there, and I'm like, hey man, just one small issue. I don't know how to start this thing. So they're like, oh, you gotta get it going, watch the fuel or watch your oil, and then flip the fuel on, and then
Yep.
fire it up. And then like the fuel was too far away, so my belts had to be loose. So then I like start it and I pull my earbuds out when I go
Yeah.
to tighten my belt. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? But to your point, shutting it off with the fuel is just as sketchy because when you shut it off, it goes like
Yeah.
it gets way lean,
Yep.
way loud. But I can't even imagine, dude. I'm still sweating from the
Yeah.
story
There's
of shutting
just
that
something
thing down.
about though, like when you jam that thing in gear and the push truck gets
Mm.
behind you and starts, shoving you off and the wheels are locked up and the thing's skating and then all of a sudden it overrides the compression.
It does feel cool.
Like,
And also, when that sucker fires, like you just said, there's no turning back, bro.
yeah, it's game on.
You gotta go. You gotta let it you gotta let it eat. I want you to. We pulled not this video game. You got the other one I sent in the group chat. The his record-setting run. There's been nobody faster in Funny Car, correct?
Nope. Yeah, we hold the record.
341.68.
Crazy.
Yep.
Did you know? Like when you made that run, were you like, that might be it? Like, can you?
I knew it was trucking. I didn't know that it was going to run 340 because when it starts pulling, it always feels fast.
Yeah.
But I caught the scoreboard out of the corner of my eye and obviously was pretty impressed.
So
And the best thing about this run is that was round one of eliminations. Like we just dropped it on them,
Yeah.
Where's
yeah.
the scoreboard for you to catch it?
on the left side of the wall.
So, but like,
yeah, he's passing it.
it used to be at a
400ths
quarter
of
mile.
second.
They moved it back.
Yeah, so we raced to 1,000 feet. So the
So you can see it.
scoreboard's right at a quarter mile. So 320 feet past the finish
Okay,
line.
back that thing up, Gabe. Right to where he's staged. So when you go up to the line, right, you got the explain to me like I have never watched drag racing before. You're driving this is it Auto Club,
Yep.
right? The old Castrol GTX hot rod here, and so you're pulling up to the line. Walk me through that process.
All right, so I'll back up from the burnout. They'll raise the body, do the final adjustments on the race car.
What are those final adjustments?
They'll look over everything. They'll take the burnout switch off of it that changes the fuel map. They'll
Do they
chart-
burn out on alcohol? And
no,
then, okay.
it's all on nitro.
Okay.
They'll charge the clutch, make sure the bearing on the clutch is all the way pushed back in its starting position. Look at fuel pressure, oil pressure, make sure everything's functioning properly. Look for leaks. They'll drop the body. My dad will roll me into the beams just before the first pre-stage bulb.
Okay.
Once I'm set there, he'll nod to the other crew chief, make sure he's ready. He'll adjust the barrel valve, the final adjustment on the barrel valve.
What's the barrel valve?
It's our fuel manifold essentially.
'Kay.
So inlet outlet of fuel returns. He'll adjust the barrel valve, and when he walks off, I'm very time oriented
Mhm.
in my routine. I think that doing the same thing over and over again benefits me because it puts me in a state of mind that I'm comfortable and I'm
Yep.
not overthinking. So he'll walk off. I'll do my count. I'll roll in pre-stage, let the other guy pre-stage. At this point, when you're ready to pre-stage, you got to be ready to go. So once both cars are pre-staged, I got the brake on. I actually have a push brake. I'll let off of the clutch. So you'll actually, if you listen closely, if you ever go to the races, you'll hear the RPM drop.
Yep.
It's because the clutch pedal's out and it's tugging, and you're holding it with the brake. I'll bump in
Yeah.
just because you just want to light that stage bulb.
The
You
first one.
The second
Okay.
one. The second one is the fully stage bulb because when you just light it, your racetrack is longer. So you'll get more performance out of the race car. I have an option to roll 7 feet, or I mean 7 inches closer to the finish line, but it makes the ET and speed look worse, but your reaction time better
Better.
because you're closer to the actual starting beam. So I just light that bulb. Other guy will go in, and when that yellow light drops, hammer down. And you have to be 100% focused on those amber bulbs. Because you're asking, these cars race so close to each other now, you'll win or lose by a thousandth of a second. So 1 thousandths out of my human body can make or break us potentially winning the race if it's first round.
So when you are watching, right, they light up your pre-stage lights, and then dude, he literally just dropped it with his thumb. Look,
Yeah.
he pulled it. He,
Sitting here.
he's like,
Yeah.
nailed it. That's too light.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, dude, that was
So
awesome.
your brake, you push it forward,
Yeah.
and then
and
you
then
let
so
it
you're
go.
punching
Yeah.
your foot and
Yeah,
pulling your
so
hand.
and your brake and throttle have to be in sync all the time because if I hit the gas with the brake on, it's going to screw up the first few rotations of the tire. Like literally the first quarter rotation of our tire can dictate if the car's going down the racetrack or smoking the tires instantly.
Mm.
So like having those in sync, being a machine simultaneously getting off the brake and on the throttle is really important.
Yeah, I was talking to Clay Milliken last week in his bus, and tires are super important in asphalt racing. So I was
Mhm.
asking about the tires, and he's like, well, actually, I was asking about stagger. He's telling me about the crown of the track, and he said
Mhm.
we actually will measure the tires and use them, smaller ones or bigger ones, for our gear ratio
Yep,
because you're locked into what gear you run.
for
But that's
sure.
how you'll change
Yep.
gearing.
Yeah, the smaller tire will give you more drive shaft speed initially, because it's gonna free up quicker. Where the taller tire, it's harder to pull, even though we have 13
Yeah, really drags
horsepower.
her down.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll tune. We also use our tires. This was a shit show.
That looks like a bouncy one.
Yeah,
Oh, buddy.
we'll actually use our tires. So a new tire, we don't have suspension, so we actually use our tires as suspension as well.
Oh, there, dude.
So a new tire has a stiffer sidewall, and then like a 8 run tire has a much softer sidewall. So we'll, depending on the track
8 run
conditions,
tire. So a tire with 8 runs on it.
yeah, you can get it to
You
that point. You
condition
don't
the
want to run it
tire.
any more than that, but you can junk a set of tires in 1 run, or you could get 8 out of them. Just
Wow.
depends.
Yeah,
But
this is a pedal fest right here.
yeah, this was a bucking Bronco. That was not intentional.
Is it
Well, this
rattle
one
in your
here,
head?
this one, you beat him.
Oh, yeah.
You come back.
Yeah, I actually did end up winning that round,
Dude, that's
but
sick.
I had no intentions of doing that.
No, but yeah, it's just
So
grinding
right
it
here,
out.
so it's starting to come loose.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just barely on the edge of making it or not. So what I tried to do was just roll out half throttle and flat foot it back. Well, it just blew them off, and then I was kind of behind the race car. Well, once I got back to, I tried just rolling into the throttle. Well, as soon as I cracked the blades, it picked the front end up, and when it picked the front end up, my foot came off the throttle,
Yeah.
and when it landed, my foot went back on the throttle,
Oh, yeah.
and it literally bucked me for
Yeah, the whole
800 feet. Just
Do you
had
move your head? Like, do you move much in your seat, or you have it pretty locked in?
you're locked in. Like you can barely breathe when you get strapped into these things. Like we get strapped in. One of my crew members, Bobby, straps me in, and like he literally tries breaking me in half. Like you cannot,
Like,
you can't
foot on
even
your
speak
chest.
really. Like you're so tight that you can't form a full sentence. Like you run out of breath.
You wear a mouthpiece and like
No,
Richard
I
too.
don't. Some drivers do. I never was a fan of wearing a mouthpiece in any motorsport.
Oh, that was John's big wreck. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah, that was nasty.
When, man, I asked this question to Caps when he was on here, but it came across wrong because I was virtual. But like, when you're in the car, like in a funny car, and it blows up and blows the body off, what is that? What is the pressure like in there? Does it feel
It's
like a
ma-
bomb goes off?
For sure. Yeah, it is a bomb. Like, I mean, that body weighs 200 pounds and you have 4,000 pounds of downforce on it and it blows it into the air like that. Like, that kind of puts it in
Does it, like pop
retrospect.
your ears? Like, what is it?
Yeah, it gives you a headache. Like, it literally
Yeah,
concusses you.
Whoa!
Like, it'll blow your visor open.
Come on.
I've seen it.
What kind of helmet you wear?
I wear a bell.
Or
Need
belt.
one with
Do
a
you have
clip?
a strat like a lock on it?
Yeah, so this is my I grew up racing Bell, and when I raced over there, he was all Simpson branded.
Yeah.
So I got back with Bell this year, but they just delivered my helmets last week, and it's got this new Formula One lock on it. It's a spring loaded like lock in, like when it goes down, the button comes out, and
Yeah.
then you have to press the button in to peel it up. That thing's nice. It's a little bit of a pain to get open with
Pisses me off when I try to
three
open
pair
my
of
shield
plugs
and
on.
you're like, damn.
Yeah,
After a burnout, you're choking. Damn it. Damn it.
yeah. Yeah, you don't wanna open your visor in one of these. We have fresh air in them, and that's the only way you can breathe is breathe in that. You open the visor, you're just inhaling fumes.
Nitro.
Yeah, and smoke.
I got some softballs for you.
Well, you bring up
Favorite
smoke. I wanted to transition that
to Tony?
to Tony. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that guy could literally race wheelbarrows and be successful, and he's incredible. Has has that how successful he has been surprised you?
No, not at all. I've known Tony since I was 10 years old, and he's always impressed me. He's just a natural, God-given talent. Anything he touches, he wins in, and he does a really good job in that race car. They put a good race car under him. He's going to win a lot more too. Our sport, it's it's almost reversed of a normal sport or like a NASCAR, like 60-40. It's kind of the other way, crew to driver. You got to be on when it's time to be on. But if your race car's not going up the racetrack, the only time you can help it out is if the other guy screws up just as bad as you. So you put a good race car under him, he's going to be lethal.
This is the video I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, this is it.
This is you getting a stuck throttle.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It looks like you're just doing a really long burnout, man.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, you did get her shut down.
And how you explained it was exactly how it looked. Just
Yeah.
Still doing
swatting flies.
145 miles an hour.
Yeah, and it was shut off. I was probably running 220 fucking sideways. Oop.
Whoa. But Tony has a impeccable way of explaining, breaking down race cars. Even when I worked for him, his feedback was phenomenal. But one thing I heard him say that like light bulb, like, man, that's a no brainer, but you never think about it. He said, my first run in the nitro car, my head was 6 feet behind me.
Yep.
Like he's like, I got to work on getting caught up because
Mhm.
the car was 6 feet in front of where my head was. Is that is that a common thing with
For
you guys?
sure. Yeah, it's just like anything, like when you move up the ranks when you're growing up racing, you go up to that next level and the car's driving you, you're not driving it. And it's like that, but on steroids. You're accelerating like nobody should accelerate,
Yeah.
essentially. It's the fastest accelerating vehicle on the
Human
planet.
bodies are not built for that.
Yeah.
No.
I was gonna ask you because I'm I was a big drag race fan growing up. What's your favorite paint scheme or car of all time?
That's hard. I loved Gary Selzy's Oakley Mopar cars
Oh,
back
Bro,
in the
I
day.
got it. I have
Dude,
it pulled
yeah,
up because I was
those
thinking of
things were
Scotty Cannons.
yeah, they were so sweet.
Yep.
All hand painted by Banshee. They were beautiful.
Dude, I literally have that. That's what I've
Yeah.
been looking up. But I also,
And it had his mustache on the side.
Yeah.
It had like
Yeah.
like kind of like a caricature of himself.
well, Scotty Cannon he was the one that wore the glasses
Yeah.
over his head.
Yep.
But then, like, I always got excited when the Moo and Eyes car came out.
Mhm.
But like, uh, was it Swamp Thing? Who's that? What was
Moon
it
Eye
called?
Swamp Rat?
Swamp Rat.
Oh, wait, no, no,
Big
no.
Daddy Don Garros.
Yeah. That was a Swamp Rat.
Dude.
Yeah.
Those things were so sick. And I was like, did you ever watch growing up? We'd be driving to quarter midget races. I'm 8 years older than you, so it might have been out, but like, and they walked away.
Yeah. Yep.
That was like, I watched them a lot. So
Yeah.
like watching that thing flip over backwards, turn and come back down the track and like those guys. But is there any other cars that kind of stick out to you that were like iconic?
Yeah. I mean, John Force's cars, obviously. The Superman cars back in the day when they
Oh,
used to do
yeah.
the themed, all across all motorsports. Steve Kenzer had one, Joe
Yep.
Amato had one, Force had one. Like those were cool days. The Rat Fink cars were cool. The Skull cars, Don Perdome's
Dude,
Skull cars with
Skull
caps.
Bandits.
The team cars, one was blue, one was green, black and green. Those
Peak
were sweet.
Motorsports.
Yeah, for sure.
The
Yeah,
Winston cars were always cool too.
Yeah, bring back the Winston days, baby.
That's
I
right.
love it.
Some darts and some drag racing, boys.
The
Uh,
duffel bag.
That's just passing them out. So you're in Gainesville when? Like when's it start up? In the next couple weeks.
Yeah, we race next weekend, so I'll go back to Indy tonight and work till Saturday. Trucks leave Sunday morning, and start testing Tuesday. Test Tuesday, Wednesday, have Thursday off to regroup, and Friday's the first
Gator
national
Nationals.
event.
Let's
Yep,
go.
qualifying Friday, Saturday, race Sunday.
Awesome, buddy. Well, damn, it's been fun to talk to you. I appreciate it. We'll definitely be watching along. How can fans follow your journey?
Yeah, Proc Rocket _ TF. It's my old Top Fuel handle. I never changed it. It's
Love it.
that on all platforms. Austin Prock on Facebook. It's a good blend of motorsports and culinary arts.
Oh, let's
I didn't
go.
even ask you about that, right? This guy's like the most.
It's a good follow.
Yeah, this guy's like the most interesting man out there. This guy drives 340 miles an hour and also has a culinary arts degree.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What's your go-to dish?
I don't have one. I'll dream stuff up, wake up in the morning, write it down, and go to the store. No recipes, just off the cuff, and
you're
just get
Gordon
down in the
Ramsay.
kitchen.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah, I
say,
try.
we-
Yeah, he's like an idol. Yeah, him and Bobby Flay.
You ever met him?
No, I haven't. Hopefully, Ford
man.
can hook me up with that with this
That's
new
one of them.
F1
You don't want to
deal.
meet your idols, dude. You might cook him a dish, and he might tell you suck.
Yeah,
I would hope he.
This is
I would hope
rubbish.
he does. You know, I want him to be the Gordon
Okay,
Ramsay I
okay.
see on television.
well, if Gordon Ramsay came
idiot
in right now and
sandwich.
you had a kitchen, what would you make for him?
I don't know. It's just however I cook how I feel. I feel like
How you feel right now? What would
Yeah.
you cook for him?
The first thing that came to mind is it's kind of chilly in here. I made a bomb lobster bisque the other day,
Oh,
and first stab at it, and it was on it like not tooting my own horn. It was the best lobster bisque I've ever had.
let's go.
It was good. Made
I'm
my
gonna
own
take you up
stock
on
and
that. Hey,
everything.
when you come to Charlotte, you better have some lobster bisque in the trailer. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop by, buddy. Oh man, so I'm
We got-
excited to.
We got to
well,
ask him.
oh, we got to ask him 3 questions. Yeah, we can't let them go just yet. Generally, these are oval track guys that are sitting here, but it's not often we get a dragster guy. So, unique question: if you had to pick one car and one racetrack to race out the rest of your life, what do you go with?
IRP pavement midget.
Okay,
Let's go.
Yeah.
sick,
Dude, those guys are
Some of the
nuts.
most fun I've ever had in a race car.
man. That
Just-
is a cool.
You got to commit there. No
Combination.
brake, float it in there, run the right front towards the wall, and hammer down.
Hey, they're coming back.
Yeah, I know.
They're
I got some. I'm gonna do the Ford Focus deal. I believe the little Thursday night Thunder series this year.
I
So
want to do the one at the Speedrome.
Yeah.
I have some
little 500.
little hooks in the water
yeah,
trying to.
I won my first Focus midget race there. First
Speed
time I ever
drone's
sat in
cool,
one.
dude.
Yeah.
That place looks sick. Question number 2: what's the most embarrassed you've been at the racetrack?
Probably that video you just showed of me bebopping the throttle for 800 feet.
You won.
I did win, but I mean that is pretty dumb looking.
Bush League. Question
I
number
thought
3.
it was cool as hell, and you still won.
The,
so
the
what's it
fans
matter?
thought it was awesome. Like I went back to the trailer and I'm like tail between
yeah,
my
but-
legs, head down, and all the fans were like, "Dude, you're the best drag racer ever." I'm like, "All right."
Let him think.
Tell
that,
my
bro.
dad that. Yes, he's pissed right now.
Last question, man. If I had you're close to our age, so you'd get the Men in Black reference. You see Men in Black.
Yep.
Right. You get the pen, zaps all your memories.
Yeah.
If I had that pen and I got to zap all your memories, but you only get to keep one racing memory, what do you keep?
That's tough. Probably winning my first championship. That or winning
What
my
moment
first ever
specifically?
race. Winning the championship. Probably I pretty much locked it up one race before the season was over. It was mathematically done, but I had to show up to Pomona and just get like entry points. So winning the final round in Las Vegas to cap it off. We won it on a Monday. Race got canceled on Sunday for some weather conditions, and rolled it out there Monday and won the race. No fans there, just the boys, just the team, and
Just the
celebrated
fellas.
big.
No traffic leaving.
No traffic
Love it.
leaving. Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Well, you guys know where to find us, whether you're listening wherever you find your podcast or YouTube. Special edition episode because we had a special edition guest here in Austin Prock. Back-to-back champion, going for 3 in a row, buddy. We wish you luck.
That's right.
Everybody follow along Austin. And that's was it Bob Tasca Racing, that Ford
Yep.
Mustang Dark Horse. It's gonna be a good, cool year. I'm certainly gonna be keeping up with you more this year. Wish you luck, and thanks for stopping in.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. This is a good time.
Yeah, buddy. Y'all have a good day. Keep stacking pennies, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye.